I view the investment in first Bitcoin as being the S&P 500 of the future.
I just discovered what's really happening today with crypto.
I've said it repeatedly. I'll continue to say it. In a world where AI disrupts all businesses, every single business will be disrupted by artificial intelligence as we go forward. I just don't feel people have spent enough time on it. What Bitcoin represents is something which is outside the current system.
More specifically, I just discovered what's really happening with altcoin season. Watch today's whole video so you understand all the information. Because first, looking at the Bitcoin price, Bitcoin's established. Bitcoin's institutionalized. Not saying that there won't be nasty corrections along the way. Volatility comes with Bitcoin. But really, volatility to the upside is why people invest. And while we're consolidating today, like always, we've always seen this. Bitcoin shoots up, consolidates for weeks to months, shoots up, consolidates, macro events do happen, shoots up, the consolidation begins again. What's interesting is how traditional media is starting to educate their mass audiences on the inevitability and the safety of Bitcoin as an investment.
It will continue to gain strength. I think on the last program, I said it would go above 200,000 this year. I still not only believe that, I think there's higher highs for it going forward. I think this is something that people at least need to focus on as a small portion of their portfolio, if for no other reason that I think from a standpoint of what is a certainty going forward, the current existence of the framework we have in capitalism is changing going forward. And if people don't believe it, they need to have some sort of a hedge. And Bitcoin and Ethereum themselves are at least combined a good way to do that.
Meaning never before in Bitcoin's almost 16-year history. In fact, it wasn't until last year when institutions were finally able to get in that they're now saying that, like the S&P 500, not that there won't be some down years, but over time, it's the safe investment, and Bitcoin will do better year-to-year performance than the S&P. So what about altcoin season? Because right now, billionaire Ray Dalio, heavily respected investor, billionaire Ray Dalio, is now saying a 15% allocation into Bitcoin and gold. Heavily respected billionaire investor Rick Edelman urges that financial advisors should put a 40% allocation into Bitcoin.
What has changed now? Why do you think specifically now you can allocate up to 40%?
Again, this was after Bitcoin got regulated.
In portfolios, I mean, that's a big jump.
It sure is. In my book, The Truth About Crypto, which was a #1 Amazon bestseller, that was in 2021, just 4 years ago, and I said 1%. Today, I'm saying 40%. That's astonishing.
It's all because Bitcoin specifically got regulated. It does not take a genius to figure that out. I mean, even Ray Dalio, to his credit, years ago, almost sheepishly was saying 1 to 2% in Bitcoin. Now he's at 15%. Why is that? And what do you think happens to the rest of crypto, the altcoin market, when altcoins get regulated for the very first time in history? The market structure bill has not happened yet. This is the Clarity Act. This is coming. Again, we just got a new SEC chair. We haven't even got the CFTC chair signed in or approved yet. For those demanding altcoin season now, we need to manage expectations.
So I want to manage expectations because we're at the beginning of the journey in our conversations with the regulators about crypto. The CFTC does not yet have a permanent chairman. Paul Atkins has only been in office now for a few months. So we're at the beginning of the journey.
Now, you don't want to buy altcoins when altcoin season is popping off, when altcoin season is happening. That's when you want to sell. You want to take out your positions when Bitcoin season is happening, when Bitcoin dominance is rising, if you're prepared to ride the wave and understand, I may buy altcoins today, but Bitcoin dominance could keep increasing until macroeconomic climates shift. Also, be sure to click subscribe to Altcoin Daily completely free, that you can join the 1.63 million subscribers that watch one video per day and have an edge investing by staying informed. And let me just show you exactly what I'm talking about with real life examples with cryptocurrencies. Even though the altcoin market, again, Bitcoin is consolidating, so Bitcoin dominance gets to go tick up again, and the altcoins get drained. But let's just look at VeChain, for example. These are altcoins we've mentioned for years on the channel, which, looking at price action, we see, let's go back down to linear. It's a little more blunt. We see VeChain, obviously, altcoin season really popped off in 2021. If you were there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And we have not seen a bull market top altcoin season again, the closest that we've seen. And this would look pretty similar on many altcoins. That when the Bitcoin halving happened around April, March of 2024, altcoins had the rally. Quality altcoins had a rally. And then when Trump got elected in November and he took office in January and he launched the meme coin, Trump meme coin marking the top, altcoins did have a little bit of a season. And this can be double checked. If we go to when we last saw altcoin season start to peak a little bit, was when Trump took office, was when Trump got elected, and then right after the Bitcoin halving. And this was all based on hype and not real fundamentals. Not that quality cryptocurrencies like VeChain, not that they don't have quality fundamentals, but the reason price rose for altcoins was primarily hype. This regulation finally allows big money to feel comfortable entering the market, like we saw with Bitcoin. And while VeChain, for example, is low today, in fact, it's 91% down from all-time highs. Looking at the data, fundamentals have seen 500% growth in the last 3 years, meaning fundamentals are up 500%. We have a clear catalyst for the future, yet prices haven't caught up yet. That's potential opportunity. And by the way, Altcoin Daily will always share with you all the information. The fundamental specifically, in this case for VeChain, is the growth of the network. New addresses, known addresses, active addresses, and then addresses with transactions, up multiple hundreds of %. And just looking at historical unique addresses, this was the year 2022. This is where we are in 2025 for VeChain, but really the market hasn't caught up yet. And let's look at more. Let's look at a newer altcoin, BitTensor Tau. If we go to the price, TAO, BitTensor, like altcoins are down. Log, linear. Log is typically better, but linear is just more blunt, so I'm going to use that to illustrate. Price went crazy around the Bitcoin halving. Price went crazy when Trump got elected, when Trump took office. I mean, right now, BitTensor is about 50% from all-time highs. But looking at the fundamentals, which to me is Signal, are up and to the right. Yes, the subnet market is tough right now. And yes, alphas are falling. I'll explain this in a second. But the data still tells us some positive things. More and more Tau is coming onto the alphas. No matter what we are going through today, we are convinced of the potential of BitTensor and subnets. We are convinced it is only a matter of time. If you're bullish on artificial intelligence, which I am, BitTensor is that blue chip in crypto. And what are alphas for BitTensor? Well, in BitTensor, alpha tokens, or simply alphas, are native tokens specific to each subnet, acting as a dynamic currency within the subnet's ecosystem. They are used to gauge demand and participation within a subnet and are purchased by staking Tau, meaning the more subnets BitTensor has, the more demand for the network. The more subnets BitTensor ecosystem has, the more demand for the token. And what do we see? Tau staked in alpha over time, up and to the right, yet maybe price, even if it consolidates more, maybe for weeks, price hasn't caught up yet with fundamentals. Also, big opportunity if you want to win your own Bored Ape.
Like we mentioned, we're giving away a Bored Ape, right? Which is huge for one lucky person who buys a copy of this.
To enter, simply purchase the documentary, How the World Went Apeshit.
And to get on the whitelist.
Get on the whitelist now. This is open, link down below.
We're going to launch a collectible version of the trailer. And so we're going to make that available at stuff.io/altcoin.
And for an in-depth conversation, check out Crypto Holders About to Make History. This Bored Ape movie is a game changer. Link down below. Stay tuned if you hold XRP. But for Cookie 3, as we know, this is your AI data layer for crypto enterprise analytics. This is just a tool in the overall Cookie.fun ecosystem. Right now, there's 1.66 million impressions, 1.8K posts, 40K engagement for Attention Capital Markets, ACM, in the last 7 days. Not bad for something that didn't exist a week ago. And if you look at this, this looks exactly what you'd see on Glassnode. meaning Bitcoin data, only they're being the data layer. Cookie is being the data layer for influencers or capital markets or attention. What am I talking about? Well, in case the timeline wasn't loud enough, here are some contexts. Cookie.fun and Legion launched attention capital markets as a direct response to InfoFi fatigue. And people are using the data layer, Cookie 3, to figure out exactly what has value. To me, I just use this as a tool in my toolbox to understand who to follow, whose quality, I like him, and also shows different connections or different links for different accounts. Cookie DAO, I think, great tool to have in the toolbox. And let's keep going. I want an edge investing in crypto. What other altcoins are seeing fundamental progress? But let's just check out an Ethereum Layer 2, the only Ethereum Layer 2 specifically focused on privacy. And we see, like many other coins, price is consolidating. In fact, price right now is 91% from all-time highs. And that's because looking at Ethereum gas fees, the ETH blockchain is still very cheap to use today. Once the masses come back and the ETH blockchain, the layer 1, gets expensive, that is when quality Ethereum layer 2s will take off, I think. Again, not financial advice. This is my plan, my strategy. And 1 could be a fluke. 2, it starts to get interesting. And 3, we're starting to see a trend. Here is the founder and CEO of Cody, the Ethereum L2, dropping alpha about a third central bank digital currency in the works for Cody Network. The reason the CBDCs are choosing to work with this Ethereum L2, I believe, is because they offer privacy.
Other than that, it's continuous adoption. We're focused on the wallets that had privacy for payments, DeFi, as I've mentioned, AI, as I've mentioned, and real-world assets. Whether we are involved with 2 CBDCs right now, one coming from the Bank of Israel, but yeah, the other one is the European Central Bank. They have their own initiative and we're part of it. We're working on another one as well. We're working with various issuers from buy side and sell side too, because they all need privacy and they understand that, and that can come on chain if done right.
And if you hold XRP, I do want to put this on your radar. XRP has surged 100% since April launch. This is an ETF. Now, it's not a spot ETF, meaning this fund does not have to actually hold actual XRP. It's just a levered way to trade off the ticker.
But one of them is a levered fund tied to the value of a big cryptocurrency, and that's XRP. Just what can you tell us about how much investor interest there is in XRP and, of course, a levered instrument to it?
The point is that these altcoin ETFs haven't been approved yet, other than Ethereum, and Solana and Dogecoin are likely next. But as we go down this list, many of them won't be fully approved till we get some clarity. But demand like this, to me, for these levered products are only because they can't get the actual products. Once we get the clarity, once more ETFs get approved, that's when things change. My strategy as we head into the end of 2025 is to focus more on altcoins, even though I understand looking at, what is that? Bitcoin D, dominance.D. Even though we understand, switch this on auto, that Bitcoin dominance, Dan, we had a little altcoin rally, and maybe this is the start of something much bigger, but I'm focusing more on altcoins because I understand, even though Bitcoin dominance is up and to the right, even though it could go more, to me, it's more of the beginning of the end. And by the way, special announcement for anybody that stuck around to the end of today's video, Altcoin Daily did just get nominated for Influencer of the Year, as well as Best YouTuber, Best News Channel. Honored to be nominated. We've won some of these prior years. I know it's just going to take 30 seconds. If you could, there's a link down below. Go out and vote. It's a page that'll look like this. You'll scroll right down to any of these things that say vote now. And don't just vote for Altcoin Daily. Vote for your favorites. Best education, best interviews. But obviously, you're going to write Altcoin Daily down for the golden upvote. Appreciate you. There's a link down below. And like always, see you tomorrow. If you voted, comment down below. I want to like it.